Good morning and welcome to another session with Coach Phil. Today, out of customer delight, I want to read another a day. So today is do what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it in the way you said you were going to do it. Larry Winget. So Brian's take, who's the author of this great book, Customer Delight 365, Brian Monahan. So Brian's take on that particular quote is, you've got to meet Larry sometime. He is a no-holds-barred kind of guy. He says it like it is, but he also walks the talk. The best businesses focus more on keeping their commitments than flashy marketing. Don't let your mouth offer up what your feet can't deliver. Don't let your mouth offer up what your feet can't deliver. So that was today's from Brian's great book. You can get this on Amazon if you like. Get your own copy, and then you can read your quote every day and have some delight to start your day off. So today I wanted to talk about thermostats. And why do I want to talk about a thermostat? Well, a couple of reasons why is most of us have them somewhere in one way, shape, or form. The one I'm going to get you to think about today, though, is the one that self-regulates you and I to be what we are. One of my mentors calls it, we have this isness. Who we are is based on our isness, our habitual thinking, our conditioned thinking, our conditioned thoughts, our habits. So just call it, it's our isness. So how do we get that? Well, we get that from living a life, learning some things, good and bad. And habits are a good thing, but they're also a bad thing. So this is where the thermostat comes in. If you think of a thermostat and it's controlling your, let's say your home, and you have a furnace and you have an air conditioner, and there's a dead space in between where it's neither hot nor cold, it's a dead space. Or psychologically, it's a comfort zone. And the comfort zone is where we self-regulate, much the same as the air conditioner does and the furnace does to keep our home at a certain climate that we prefer to stay in. And as an example of that, just think if I'll speak in Fahrenheit. Let's say you set the furnace to come on if it gets below 68, so that's the bottom range, and the air conditioning comes on at anything over 72. So you've got that gap in between. And the gap in between is the dead zone in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning space of mechanical engineers. In the psychology space, it's called a comfort zone. And we self-regulate at the level we see ourselves being. So we have a self-image of who we are in a variety of different spaces, how we drive. I mean, how many people drive today that have a driver's license? Are you pretty comfortable and confident with it? How about on snow? Or how about 150 mile an hour car on a racetrack? How good are you at that? I learned that I'm not that great at it. I didn't crash and die, but I did crash and burn. I went to a simulation place where they actually teach how to drive race cars without killing yourself. It's amazing what I didn't know about driving fast. It's so different than driving my standard car. I think most of us can drive our car fast, down the highway, legally or illegally, and be fairly okay with it, unless something weird happens that we haven't practiced. But I tell you, being on the simulator and trying to race at high speed, fortunately, when we crashed into a wall, we just pushed the reset button and carried on with the race. But we can't do that so much in life. So getting back to the thermostat, with the thermostat, its job is to regulate us and keep us comfortable in that dead space, the comfort zone. And when it gets above 72, we come back into the zone, and when it goes below 68, we the furnace kicks on and warms us back up. How does that pertain to what we want to do in our life today? Well, by setting goals and moving and growing towards them, we have this mechanism that keeps us in our isness, as I mentioned earlier. And the isness is our comfort zone. So our creative subconscious mind's job is to keep us as it thinks we want to be. So if we're that kind of a driver, that's where it keeps us. We're not a race car driver. Now you can learn how to be a race car driver, and you can change your set point so that your set point is the air conditioning doesn't come on until 80 degrees Fahrenheit. You could do that. You can do that psychologically so that you can do more, be more, have more. And the way you do that is by learning and changing your habitual thinking. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Why I want to talk about thermostats is because it's a metaphor around the psychological mechanism that we have. We have a set point as to who we think we are in a variety of different ways. How well we sell. Are we good at prospecting? Are we good at closing? Any one of those areas where you feel that you're stuck in a comfort zone, you get to decide, do I want to expand that? What's the pay value? What's the benefit of expanding it? Say it's prospecting. What would happen if you were to increase your prospecting skills by 10 or 12% on a regular basis? What would that do to your lifestyle? How would you feel about that? What can you do to break out of that so that your new set point isn't at 72 degrees, it's at 74 degrees, using the thermostat metaphor? I encourage you to set some goals bigger than what you can imagine how to do. You don't need to, if you know how to do it, you're stuck in your comfort zone. So if you set a goal and then 10% for growth, that's not really a goal. That's more of a task or a to-do list kind of a situation. I would encourage you to set a goal beyond the comfort zone of the thermostat set point to somewhere out there for you where it excites the heck out of you, but also scares the heck out of you at the same time. It helps turn on the creative juices and generate the energy to want to get there. And just think of what you'll become if you take this challenge on. Look at that. Bruce is brilliant. It takes much more time to break a habit than it does to create a habit. Often that's true. Although, if those of you who were married, before you were married, you were courting and dating and doing all those great things. You went to the church or the Justice of the Peace and you got married. And before you said your vows, you were engaged, but you weren't married. But as soon as you did that rite of passage activity, as soon as the minister said, I now pronounce you man and woman, or husband and wife, whatever they're going to say at that time, then you start acting like you're married. What happened? You change your set point. Maybe it's not quite that quick, but it does shift really quickly. So some changes can happen instantaneously, and some can take time, and some habits take longer to break. Keep this in mind. There's two ways that we can change the thermostat or the self-regulation that we have going on in our world. And it's like this. There's one of two ways. Here's one way. Impact. So what's an impact? Loss of love, loss of a loved one, loss of a job, financial loss, getting a report from your doctor that you're overweight and you're diabetic, or you're on the path to being that, or you have cancer. That's a impact, right? Sudden impact. Those kind of levers are going to get you to change things much quicker than if you didn't have those. Now that's pretty drastic. I'm not suggesting that you go through those points to make change happen. What I am suggesting is that there's another way. And the other way is constant spaced repetition. You can't, at least I don't know anybody who has done this yet. If you haven't been really good at lifting weights and you want to go from lifting a light weight right on up to 500 pounds or 250 pounds, let's be a little bit more realistic, Phil. Okay, 250 pounds. It's not likely that you could bench press 250 pounds first time out. For most of us, maybe some could, but for most of us. So how do you get there? constant space repetition. How do you get to a big, hairy, audacious goal? Constant space repetition. Perseverance with tenacity generates the possibility of reaching the goal. So thinking of your self-regulating set point in your life, a thermostat of you, psychologically speaking, what would you like to be, do, and have? Where are you now today in your thermostatic set point? And what do you need to do? What would it look like if you could do whatever you wanted to do? And then start thinking about and start learning about and start acting upon the things you need to do that will get you to a new set point. Change your thermostat. With that, guys, happy, fantastic Friday. I hope it's fruitful. We're up and coming to a long weekend for many of us around the world. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, terrific long weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for popping in.